Okay, so for this problem, we want to find the derivative of the function h of t is the cosine of t divided by t cubed. And this problem can be, you can find the derivative using either the quotient rule, which is what we're going to do in this video, or you could actually use product rule if we rewrote that as a t cubed with a negative exponent and use the product rule instead. But again, we're going to focus on the quotient rule for this problem. So just to kind of remind everybody of this quotient rule, the derivative of a quotient f of t divided by g of t is going to be the derivative of the top function times the denominator bottom function minus the top function times the derivative of denominator, which is g prime of t, divided by our denominator squared. So again, that is our quotient rule. So for our problem, we're going to be going through and taking a look at h of t is equal to the cosine of t, which we'll leave in blue, divided by t cubed, which will be in red. And again, we can either think of the cosine as the top function or think of it as f. And we can think of the denominator, t cubed, as our function g. So when we find our derivative, it's going to be the derivative of the cosine function, which is negative sine of t, times our denominator, t cubed. Quotient rule always has a subtraction. Top function, f of t, is the cosine of t, and then derivative of our denominator is 3 times t squared. And that is all divided by our denominator, t cubed, and that is always squared in our quotient rule. All right, so from there, we can now start simplifying this down. And in doing so, we will notice that we can factor out a negative and a t squared from our numerator. So that's negative t squared times the quantity t times the sine of t plus 3 times the cosine of t. And our denominator is t to the 6th using our rules of exponents. We can actually simplify this down by dividing out a factor of t squared, giving us a t to the 4th. So our derivative simplifies down to h prime of t is going to be negative the quantity t sine of t plus 3 times the cosine of t, all divided by a t to the 4th power. And that is the derivative of our function h using our quotient rule.